Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast at Ruby's. This is a weekly or semi weekly podcast where I talk to wonderful people and we just have wonderful conversations and sometimes chaotic, sometimes iconic, sometimes both. You know what? That's the nature of podcasting. Am I right? This week we have the wonderful Ryan. Hi.
Hello, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So excited to talk to you. We've been in the talks to do this for a while, and then I was like, let me go on a podcast break real quick and not do anything of the sort. Um, but I was like, how do you want to be introduced? Because former streamer slash streamer on a hiatus slash icon legend moment. What's the intro?
I'm just a person making my way through the world at this point. I used to stream. I streamed for about a year here on Twitch. I did a lot of video games and then I hosted a game show, which you were part of.
I
But
sure was, and flopped every
life,
time.
oh my God, you did great. Life got busy though, and the weather was getting nice, and I started feeling more comfortable like going outside. I'm still not going to like clubs or indoor gatherings, but just going out hiking, swimming, enjoying nature. And I was just like, Twitch has changed so much since what it was mid-pandemic in terms of like people being around. And I was just kind of like, I love my community and I love like the community that I had built, but I felt like it was time to move on for myself and also to free up that time for a lot of my viewers as well.
Yeah, I get that. Like, and at the time we talked, and there were other people also quitting, and I also considered it because, like, people don't get it. Like, streaming is very, very time consuming, and oftentimes with very little reward, if we're gonna be completely honest. Not in a way of like expecting a lot of money or anything like that, but it's like you're putting a lot of time and a lot of effort and energy into doing stuff and planning and all of that, and sometimes you just want to do other things with your time, and I completely get that. Every time someone quits, I used to be very like, oh, they're not cut out for this, whatever.
True.
And like now I'm just like, I get it. Like I've been there. I've been there of like, I maybe I'll quit. Maybe this is it. I don't know about this anymore. Um, but Twitch keeps getting me. They keep grabbing me. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. But yeah, what
It's
was
a great platform though. But like, well, yeah. But like for me, but like my whole life kind of functions in like year-long chunks.
hmm.
So it's like I like have a whole rebirth like after a year of doing something, and I like hit that point with Twitch where I was like, well, time for the next thing.
Honestly, that's kind of iconic because then you get to do a lot of different things and you don't get like stuck doing something for years. Because like sometimes getting complacent is not also great because you're like, oh, I've been doing this shit for like so many years and like I haven't gone anywhere, or like I haven't gotten anything out of it, or I don't like what I'm doing anymore. Like there's so many people that I've come across that have experienced stuff like that where sometimes I even ask myself like, why are you still streaming? Like, why do you even care anymore? Like you're so negative about the whole thing all the time, so it's like, why do you even do it? But was there, how hard was that decision though, like stepping away and being like, okay, I'm done?
Oh my God, it was so easy.
Ah.
Like I hate to say it, but because like I said, I loved my community and I loved it and I had so much fun on Twitch. Also, I'm like, I don't even know where to look because I'm trying to make it look like I'm not side-eyeing you while
I
I'm
know.
talking. So I keep like moving you around the screen a little bit. I'm like, do I look directly into the camera?
If you
Um,
want.
so I kind of made the decision. There had been a few months where I was like, I'm kind of ready to move on to another thing in my life. Not like, and also, if anyone out there is streaming on Twitch, I was not like, I'm saying I was moving on to something better. I just needed something different from what I was
Right.
doing on Twitch. Like before Twitch, I needed something different from what I was doing then. Um, and I had spent a couple months like hemming and hawing about it. Like, should I? Like, it's still decent. And then I just hit a point where I was like, okay, I really need to do the next thing, which for me is going back to school. And so I had planned to do my last stream at the end of July, and then my birthday is July 10th, and then like 5 days before my birthday, I was just like, I don't even know if it was 5 days. Nobody fact checked me. I was like, you know what? I'm done.
Right.
My birthday stream is just gonna be my last stream, and then I'm out. Like I'm tired, and I wasn't feeling as motivated to go on stream anymore. Really enjoyed the games that I was playing, but I felt like I wasn't like it being as innovative with them. I felt like I was running out of ideas. And I love doing Pyramid of What. For anyone who doesn't know, that was the game show that I hosted. I loved it, loved it. I wish I was still doing it, but it's so much work
Yeah.
to do. Um, between like casting all the contestants, coming up with the questions, organizing everything. And I feel like if I'm not streaming regularly, if I were to just do Pyramid of What once a month, the viewership wouldn't be there because there wouldn't be people consistently seeing my face. So I was just like, I just gotta wrap everything up and put it to bed.
Yeah. I can see that. Although I wouldn't be opposed to a monthly stream. I would be against that. But yeah, I totally get that. It's such a hassle. I was doing a thing where I was doing panels for Pride, and that's when I fully learned how chaotic it is to get people together, like a group of people at like the same time, and like it within like a week, just for people that don't get it, because obviously why would you if you're not like a streamer, if you're not putting events together or anything of the sort. But it's like a week leading up to it, and you have people like ghosting you, people that said that they were interested and suddenly they don't say anything back, or you have people that cancel like a couple days before, like stuff like that, where you're like at that last minute moment where you're like, oh, do I get someone else? Do I just make a new graphic? Like, it's just such a thing. Or the day of, like, it literally happened a
Right.
couple times where, like, shit happens, like internet stuff, people getting sick, all that stuff. And sometimes the day of, I'm like, oh, just kidding, that person's not going to be here anymore. Well,
Yeah.
once I did that because we actually were in good terms, but can't
Ooh,
say that for
drama.
every occasion.
I got really lucky with Pyramid where I never had anyone drop out. There was a slight cash shift because I had to cancel the like final season. I had to reschedule because that something happened in my life. And a couple of people couldn't make the new date, but I was so fortunate. But I also stayed on top of everyone. I was like DMing them. I'm like, here's the timeline, here's this. This is when you're gonna be there. This is
Right.
when everything's gonna happen. I'm like, I wanted you to feel bad if you have to
Yes.
cancel, so you're not going to do it.
As you should, honestly. If you're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I feel so bad. I'm like, yes, you should. I'm just kidding.
It's like if you felt bad, you would do it. I always say, when someone's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," if you were sorry, you wouldn't have done it.
Well, the only time I will say it was justified was literally someone that was like, they got food poisoning, like they ate something for lunch that day, and they were like, I really tried and I can't stop puking. And I'm like, you're fine. Like, don't worry about it, like you're completely fine.
Mm.
I think it was even on stream or something, like they tried like a weird food on stream or something like that, and it went bad. So they were like, well, I guess I'm not doing it anymore. I'm like, yeah, please don't die. um
The things streamers have to do.
Well, they think they have to do. Let's talk about that. No, we don't have to. You quit
We
streaming
can.
for a reason.
Oh,
Let's.
I'll talk about it. I don't have a career anymore, so I can come on here and say whatever I want.
I have nothing to lose at this point. So okay, top 10 people you hate on the platform. No, just kidding. you don't.
Okay,
You don't have
I
to.
got the list. I can pull it
Ah!
up. I'll leak the DMs. I don't care. I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Oh my god! Now I'm very tempted
Oh,
to ask. Not names, but like maybe a situation that was like very like drama, and you were like,
oh,
I don't know about this, like maybe that contributed slightly to you leaving or something. Not to give them that power, but you know what I mean.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah,
I'll
let's.
bring it up.
Yes.
So I'm gonna make a generalization about Twitch in general. Cancel me for it. But I think a lot of people who stream um tend to go on power trips a lot because
Hmm.
I think um there's like a younger demographic and a more introverted demographic that goes on Twitch, and Twitch empowers them in a way that they may not have been empowered in their day-to-day life or in the workplace or whatever. And so they start to get this like power over a community. And some people run with that. It's not all Twitch streamers. Some people run with that. And so I've had some run-ins with a few people who really want to act a certain way and do a lot of like social climbing, a lot of like selfish, narcissistic behavior. Um, and I'm me. I'm just me. I'm not afraid to like call someone's behavior out. So I've done like a couple call out streams on like one person who was really like terrible to me and also their community and people who had really supported them because they had like blown up on the platform like basically overnight. They went from like 5 to 10 viewers to consistently like 150 plus. And then there were like a few other situations, and then I also got into a big drama with someone who was queer baiting. I don't know if you heard about that, but
I
someone had
yes.
been someone had been using the LGBTQIA plus tag when they were straight, and then when I like called them out on it, they accused like a month later they were like the gay community bullied me. I support them, but they bullied me,
Right.
and it just spiraled out of control from there. And now he's deleted his whole Twitter and is selling coffee in a pyramid scheme. So
Stop.
yeah, he fully deleted all of his tweets and rebranded to this like streamer coffee brand where he's selling coffee targeted to streamers, and like his face and his name is no longer on the Twitter or anything.
I hate
So
that.
rest in peace, Iskra. But that's what he did because for people who don't know about the situation, it was just this dude who was like very passionate about like streaming as a career, and he like tried to make a side hustle selling PDF books on Amazon of streamer tips.
Yeah.
Um, and so he's all about like some weird money making side scheme.
Ugh. Someone watched way too many TikToks about how to be an entrepreneur.
Literally. Literally. I'm like, you can get all these streamer tips for free on TikTok also.
Also, yeah, and YouTube and a lot of places.
But the more that I dug into that situation, the more interesting behavior I found. We'll just say that.
Yeah. there's there's
But
definitely a lot of interesting behavior with streamers because like you said it's like streamers have this weird thing where their ego is direct. Some streamers, let me not say streamers in general because I know a lot of
me,
people that are not like this. I'm like, no, just kidding. A lot of people that I've seen, and I don't really interact with people that are like that, but they have this thing where like if they have a certain viewership that they don't deem is like good enough, they like act like they're like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, and they're like, oh
mm,
my god, I'm such a flop, nobody likes me, oh my god. And then like the second they get viewership that equates to a level of they that they deem as like success, then they're like, you can't tell them shit. Like they're the best streamer around. They're like so good at everything that they do. Their content is the best. Like all this stuff, and I just can't deal with that kind of shit. Especially because like sometimes even to like DM people, like you can tell the people that are like, and again, this is not like a personal attack on how people behave, but sometimes it's like, oh, you try to like just DM someone and they're like, oh, cool, like yeah, let's talk in the DM. Some people are just like they ignore you completely. Some people are like have you go through their like business email and you're like, girl, we're
not the business
mutuals.
emails.
Like
Me when I was like casting for Pyramid, I'm like, not the business email.
like we're fucking mutuals. What do you mean I have to like email you on your business email? Like you just like, and then
Also,
yeah, it's a whole
like
thing. Yeah.
it's also like they have all this like business email DMs closed and they have like 15 concurrent viewers. I'm like, you're not giving what you think you're giving. Like your DMs aren't blowing up.
Right.
And I understand some people get like creeps in their DMs, so they might want to turn their
Right.
DMs whatever, whatever, whatever. But
But if you're mutuals, the DMs aren't closed.
right. And so it's weird. But it's like what she said, that whole like pity party of people. I don't know. So on TikTok right now, there's a sound that keeps getting used, and it's a song that's like it costs this much because of like the amount of work I put into it. And all these like resin makers use this sound to like gaslight people into buying their $300 poured plastic.
I
Um, and if you go on that sound, it's just like all these people just like pouring resin into Amazon molds,
I
like,
love that.
and all these other people have started bullying them for using. They're like, you're just melting some plastic and pouring it into a mold, like, and now you're just trying to make everyone pay like $300 for it.
Right.
I feel like it's similar to a lot of Twitch streamers who will be like, nobody's coming out to support me. Like, why aren't you all supporting me? People are busy. Like,
Right.
people have their own lives. Like, when it came to people coming to my streams, I was like, I'm so happy you're here. I love seeing you here. But like, if you can't make it, that's fine. Like, we're
Right.
all busy. This isn't your job. I'm not paying you to be here.
Literally.
Um, but it just got, that's part of why I had to get off Twitter, is I just couldn't take streamers being
Ooh.
like, come on, even if you mute the tab, leave your computer open all day. I'm like, are you gonna pay my light bill?
I can't stand that. Like numbers talk is something that even because like if it's a positive thing, I'm just like, okay, can you not brag? If it's a negative thing, then it's like, can you stop complaining? It's like
Right.
I'm like Jesus. Like I can't. If it's someone being like pushing for a specific goal or something that they're like, oh I have this thing like when we get to this goal I'll do this. I'm like okay cool promote that.
That's
But if
great.
yeah, but if it's someone being like oh, I need to do something about my concurrent viewership because brands are not gonna DM me. I'm like, girl, you need to do something about your attitude.
Right.
That's what you need to work on. We actually have a question coming through from Strawberry. I'm just gonna say Strawberry because you have a very long name and I'm afraid of mispronouncing it all. So
Strawberry acai refresher.
yes, iconic. The question is, do you both believe that TikTok/Twitter fame can successfully lead to a consistent Twitch following? Ooh. So what's your perspective on this from
I
the
would
outside looking
say
in?
it could go both ways because I have a few friends who have gotten very big on TikTok. I'll name names. One of them is Sean, literally just twitch.tv/Sean, and he is a Genshin Impact streamer, and he like blew up on TikTok for Genshin Impact content. Um, and oh my God, I love him so much. Every TikTok he starts, he's like, Genshin Impact players. I'm like, go off. So you just scroll through his feed. It's like Genshin Impact players, Genshin Impact players. Um, and he's been able to turn that into a really successful Twitch career where he's like getting hundreds of views consistently on his streams. He's like partnered with Genshin Impact now. He does like all this awesome stuff. On the flip side, I have another friend, Sarah Kendall, who is a Sims TikToker, and she is blown up. She has over 100,000 TikTok followers. Some of her TikToks get like over 2 million views.
Iconic.
Um, and she advertises her Twitch and everything on TikTok, but I'm not seeing like, because I think Sean has about the same amount of TikTok followers as her, but hers isn't translating to Twitch,
Right.
which her streams are great and they're amazing and it should. I don't know where the disconnect is happening between
Yeah.
the two of them there. So I think it could go either way. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Oh, I fully agree. Like sometimes you get like some engagement on Twitter or something like that, but it doesn't translate on Twitch, for example, because like maybe the people that are seeing your tweets, like you're not necessarily streaming at those times, so they're
Mhm.
not really seeing that. And like I mean, I've been that person where I followed people before on Twitter and I see them in my recommended on Twitch, and I'm like, oh shit, I wasn't following this person. Like they seem really nice from what I've seen them, but on socials, but I just haven't followed them. So yeah, I mean, it really depends. What happens a lot of the times too, though, is like some people's social media presence is only like Twitch clips or
Mm,
Twitch related content. So um, it can work really well as well. Like that even can go either way because like there's people that post Twitch clips on TikTok and then they get that audience to watch them on stream, and then there's people who do that and sometimes people on TikTok are like, okay, I don't care about your streams because I'm not gonna watch them. Like, okay, cool, go
right.
off then. So it really depends. It's Twitch is difficult. Twitch is a really difficult platform because I think like for people who use Twitch regularly, it's like all they do a lot of the times. Like they don't watch YouTube, like they barely are on other socials. But for people who don't really know Twitch or people are that are not on Twitch, like for them, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna sign up for like this whole other thing. Like I don't care.
Right.
I'll watch like someone on YouTube do that. Like I don't care. So
And
it it really depends.
if you're a TikTok person, you're used to consuming media in like 3 minutes or less, whereas Twitch
Right.
streams are like 4 hours plus.
Yeah.
So I think like Sean does a lot of like Genshin Impact updates, like discussing new stuff in Genshin, and then he opens his stream to be like Q&A, whereas Sarah does Sims content for TikTok and then does Sims content on Twitch, but she's not like posting her Twitch clips
Hmm.
to TikTok kind of
Right.
thing. So I think she can exist very like independently on TikTok, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
maybe that's part of it. Maybe Twitch clips is the way to go if you want people to watch you on Twitch. I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
break the TikTok algorithm. I have like 100 followers, so
Same. I'm like, I don't know. I'll post at like 2 a.m. and just because I had a random idea, and sometimes it's a thing, and I'm like, okay, cool, that video is doing well in comparison to the others, but sometimes it flops. It's such a thing. But I mean, that could also be a cool thing. Like that's a thing that I'm kind of over this past year. I've kind of been thinking about where like, does it really matter how you're doing in one specific platform versus like existing in general, which is why I have like a podcast everywhere and I have YouTube videos that are like some of them are not related at all with streaming, and then I have the gaming channel that is somewhat related, but sometimes there isn't that crossover, and I'm like, does that matter at the end of the day? Because like if people are seeing me and if I have like a certain amount of views like or followers like throughout all of the platforms, then it doesn't really matter if I'm not like Twitch partner because I'm still like existing and on people's timelines and doing stuff and whatever impact I'm making, they can see it, I guess.
right. I mean, also think it's really easy to underestimate just one viewer.
Yeah.
Like, if you have one viewer, that's a whole ass person
Mm-hmm.
just like absorbing you. It's
Yeah.
like going out to lunch with a friend.
Literally.
Um, People love to like feel some type of way about having like 2 or 3 viewers or being like a small streamer. But if you can entertain a room of like 10 people, you're doing great in the context of
Right.
like the real world. Like you're literally on a stage doing a performance at a coffee shop at that point.
Right.
Um, so I don't, people just turn their viewers into numbers and forget that they're people.
Yeah. And I do think that social media platforms kind of contribute to that,
100%.
because they're like, if you don't turn off those emails, like the second you stop streaming, you get an email being like, here's how your stream went. And like all the numbers, like little arrows pointing up or down, depending on how well you did
Right.
last time. And people like get obsessed with that because that's the only thing that they also see as a mark of success on the platform, because it's not like they say like, oh, we only partner people that have amazing content. They're like, we'll partner you if you have these stats, and then we'll think about it. Even then maybe you won't get it, so people are like, okay, I must get those stats then, and it's like, okay, sure.
I remember Instagram was supposed to turn off how many likes posts got. And I think it rolled out for a few people, but not everyone yet.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
same actually, because it's like if it's a good photo, like why, like, because I think that's a psychological thing as well. Like I think sometimes, and I feel like I've been guilty of this as well, like scrolling through Twitch, for example, and like seeing a thumbnail and you look at that viewership and you're like, oh, maybe this person is boring, or maybe it's a flop, or like you're scrolling through like Instagram and the post doesn't have that many likes and you just kind of scroll past it for some reason. So I
Right.
like that, just like hiding the numbers.
I you also never know when someone's like victim to the algorithm, where
Right.
like, and even on Twitch, it's like when you look at who you follow, it's arranged with the person with the most viewers at the top.
Right.
Like it doesn't lend itself well for small streamers. I don't know why it's not random on your following page. And I know YouTube, the like subscription page is totally different now. It's not like in the order of the most recently posted. They changed that a while ago.
Yeah, like it defaults to like recommended, but then you have like the subscriber like page. But even then, I think it misses some stuff too. I don't know. It's weird. Social media is weird.
I know I can't keep up. That's why I'm off Twitch. I'm off Twitter. I got my silly little Instagram. Post some pictures. Post a
Yes.
meme. Like whatever. I'm out of the social media rat race. I can't do it anymore.
Right. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Do you miss streaming sometimes and like being a part of that whole drama?
No. No, to a
I love
degree,
that.
th- I don't. It's really weird. Like as soon as I hit stop streaming for the last time, I had this like sense of relief wash over me. And it's not that I like ever dreaded going live. It wasn't ever like painful for me to go live. It wasn't because I know some people are like, "Oh my God, I get so anxious every time I hit the start streaming button." I never had that. I just hit start streaming, did
Same.
my thing, and then ended stream and then like went about my life. Um, but I still have all my friends that I made from Twitch.
Right.
I still talk to them. And that's what like really matters to me. But there are sometimes where I'm like, oh, like maybe I'll go live soon, and then it's always just in the distance because I'm like, what would I even do? Like, which is why I'm happy to be here because I get to show my face, give like a little update, but without the pressure of it like being on me. But yeah, there's aspects that I guess I would say that I miss, but I feel like I did everything that I wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
in terms of Twitch. Like I hosted a really cool game show for 5 seasons. I like raised over $2,000 for charity.
Yes.
I did like a couple 24-hour streams. I made a lot of friends. I hosted like tons of Mario Kart tournaments. Um, I like got to rub elbows with one of the world's largest sim streamers who like rated me 3 times. Um, I had like a very, in my eyes, very successful Twitch career. Other people would be like, "You never made partner." I'm like, "Okay, I had fun though." Like,
As if there's not
um,
partners who aren't very successful.
right, or like not having fun at all on the
Oh
platform.
yeah.
So I'm like, I think I had a great run, and it was the end of the road for me. That's not to say I'll never come back or that I'll never go
Right.
live again, because like I would like to say hi to everyone, but I'm very satisfied with my life right now.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it was right. Like if you were to click on that stop streaming button and you had any even a little bit of a doubt, then you would probably be like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't quit. But feeling relieved after streaming is a very big sign that you wanted to move on and do other things, such as feel free to get into it. Like I would love, and I'm sure I've been seeing some of the people that were a part of your community, uh, show up in the chat and say hi. So, do you have any like updates for them? What you've been up to? What you've been enjoying? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of my summer outside camping. I went to there's a lake in southern Utah that I went to a couple weeks ago. Went like kayaking and swimming, camped out on the beach. I went to like Yellowstone National Park, went through Idaho, a lot of outdoor stuff, and then I started school. So I went back to school. I had like a weird mental breakdown like right before. I was originally going to go for business management, and then like last minute I switched, and so now I am studying secondary education in the earth science field to become a high
Ooh,
school earth science teacher, which every day
iconic.
I'm like, why am I becoming a teacher? Like, I'm like, do I actually want to do that? But I feel like it's a good path right now. And my whole thing is like, I'll do something until it's not fun anymore, and then I'll stop,
Right.
which that's just like how my life goes. So I'm like, I'll go to school, get this degree, and at the end, if I don't want to be a teacher, well, I got the degree. Because I never finished college the first time around, and I've always wanted to get my degree. It's just been like a thing that I've wanted to have. No one in my family has ever gotten their degree. And it's just been like a weight on me this whole time, and I'm like, okay, now is the time to do it. Um, and it's it's been really good. I've been very busy
Yes.
because I'm also working full time, going to school full time, and then trying to like
Oh my God.
live a life. But yeah, it's been good. So that's
Yes.
like mostly what I've been up to.
Iconic. Do you still like play games and stuff like that, or like off stream, or is
Yeah,
that something that you don't? Okay.
I was actually like playing Mario Kart for like 2 hours last night.
Yes.
And then I still play Final Fantasy 14, Mario Kart. I haven't played much of The Sims, just a little bit. So yeah, I'm still playing games, but that was the other thing with streaming is that like I only play like 3 games, but like not passionately enough like some of these people who are like DVD streamers every day.
Right.
Um, and I actually like before Twitch, I wasn't that big of a gamer. Like every Sunday, I would play Dead by Daylight with a group of friends, and that was like the only video game I played. And then I got
Iconic.
Animal Crossing, which is like how I started on Twitch. And I'm so excited for that new Animal Crossing update.
Yes.
You watched the Nintendo Direct, right?
Oh, I sure did. And I
Uh,
was wigless after that Bayonetta announcement.
See, I don't know like anything about like any games except like the 3 that I play. So I'm like, who's Bayonetta?
Oh my God, she's so iconic. She is like it's the game basically is like a hack and slash. So you just spam buttons, and she's like this super like hypersexual witch, and like her hair. She makes stuff with her hair, and she's like iconic. Like her cat suits, her fashions, her one-liners, like gay rights. She's iconic in every way. I
I yeah,
totally recommend.
I only ever really played MMOs.
Right.
Like I started on the GameCube with Phantasy Star Online.
Ooh.
Um, and then I got obsessed with like the Dot Hack series, both the anime and the games. And then I moved on to Final Fantasy 11 and then Final Fantasy 14.
Yes.
I am like the worst gamer because
No, you're not.
I don't like play games. Um,
As you
and
play
I
all
thought
these
about
games are like hours upon hours upon hours.
I know, but it's like one game. I'm just like I'd rather hyper
Iconic.
focus on one game than spread myself out, and I skip every cutscene. Like I have played Final Fantasy 11 for almost the full 20 years that it's been out, and I have no idea what has happened.
I kind of love that. You know what? Sure.
So, like single player games, I'm like they're all about the story. I'm like I don't care.
Right. I can see that. Are you excited for the 14 update? It's also coming soon.
Yes, I am. Um, I am. I have like a big issue with Final Fantasy 14 because like a new expansion comes out and raises the level cap, and then all of a sudden all the work that you've put in is completely obsolete.
Well,
Um, whereas like 11 armor that you get at level 52 could still be the best piece at level 99.
right.
So it doesn't like basically erase all your progress. So I'm excited for the expansion, but I'm also like, there goes all that hard work that I put in.
No.
And now it's basically like starting over.
Oh, well. Well, hopefully the dungeons are gonna be fun though, and all the new
I
classes and
know.
all that fun
I
stuff.
know.
I say that as
You
I
play
have no
14?
idea. Not really.
Okay.
I played a little bit, not too much. I think I'm almost done with like A Realm Reborn, but
Okay.
that first chunk is like so long and like kind of boring.
I skipped it.
I've been yelled at in every direction to not skip anything. I also don't like skipping cutscenes because I like
Mm.
kind of knowing what's going on. Unlike some people, I'm just kidding.
No, literally. Like one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, Alphinaud's twin." I'm like, "He is a twin?" My friend's like, "She's in every cutscene." I'm like, "Haven't seen it."
Skipped every cutscene, so what about it? Iconic in every way. Oh my god. So I know that you like to travel. You like to travel a lot. So do you have any upcoming plans as far as like next year or anything of the sort?
I'm like dying to get out. I've been entertaining myself traveling like locally to the different national parks around me and that kind of stuff. But I'm dying to get international again. But I'm like one of those super safe people with COVID,
Yeah,
where
same.
I've been double vaccinated since March and I'm still wearing my mask everywhere. I don't dine in. I think I've dined in twice and I was wearing my mask between bites. Like I'm
Me.
like I'm just so cautious about it and so I just don't feel super comfortable traveling internationally.
Yeah.
Would be like a few countries that I'd feel safe going to, but then I'm also like, well, I don't want to bring anything and cause a problem. Like I don't want to be the one spreading the new Delta
Right.
variant. Um, so ideally, my next trip would be through China and Mongolia. That is
Ooh.
what I want to do next. But part of why I actually decided on teaching was you get the 2 months in the summer off. There's still obviously going to be some work that you need to do, but I can use that time to travel, whereas I would never
Right.
get vacation time like that in any other job. But I also want to use that degree to teach internationally, whether it's
Ooh.
teaching English, because if you have your teaching license, you can get a lot more for teaching English abroad than if you just took like the online course. Or I could teach at an international school. I have a friend who teaches at an international school in Malawi, and she gets paid pretty much like a little less than a teacher would get paid in the US, but all her housing is provided and the cost of living is so much lower.
Iconic.
Um, and you can do like a year contract. So I could do like a year contract in Malawi, a year contract in China, a year contract in like Australia, and just kind
Right.
of go and teach all these like diplomats' children and fill their minds with radical ideas so they can overthrow their parents.
Iconic, as they should.
Right?
Yeah, traveling internationally is like scary because like you never know if like you're gonna get there and then like they go on lockdown and then you have to be like on lockdown as well and then you have to pay for it too and it's like a whole thing. So it's like
I was
super scary.
I was actually traveling when the pandemic really first started taking off. So in March 2020, I went to Taiwan for 2 weeks. And
Oh
I
my
felt
god.
totally safe
Right.
because China was dealing with their like massive outbreak, but Taiwan, because they got hit really hard with the SARS virus before, they have like all these precautions in place. So they were averaging like 50 cases a day. Um, and like when I got off the plane there, I went through like 4 temperature checks. Everyone was wearing masks everywhere. If you got on the subway in Taipei, you walk through a temperature check station. Like there were so many precautions, but everyone in the US was like, "Oh my God, aren't you scared?" I was like, "Not really." And then while I was there, I'm just seeing the numbers go up and up and up in the US.
Right.
And then halfway through my trip, it was a 3-week trip. I got a text that I was out of a job because my job was closing because of COVID.
Oh my
I went
god.
to Japan for 4 days. I went to Tokyo for 4 days. Um, so I flew from Taiwan to Tokyo, and then the plan was to fly Tokyo back to Taiwan, spend the night, and then fly back to the US. I was on my way to the airport in Tokyo, and I was like, "Oh, I'll check in for my flight tomorrow from Taiwan to the US just while I'm sitting on this train with nothing to do." And it's like, "Your flight was canceled. Please book another flight from this list." So I
I
click for the list. There's nothing. And I'm like, "Girl, what?"
not
So my
that.
flight was supposed to land in Taiwan at 11:30 p.m. and at midnight they were closing the borders.
I
So had I not tried to check in early, I would have been trapped, which in hindsight, I wish. Um, but I was able to get to the airport. I got to the airport at like 6:30 and I just rushed to the desk in Tokyo and I'm like, "Hey, so I can't fly home." Thankfully, it was all like on the same airline. I was like, "Can y'all send me home from here?" And they're like, "There's a flight in 30 minutes. It's boarding now." And the
I
woman just like grabs my arm and runs me through security. Um and I made it. But actually like
iconic.
so I had a layover and on my layover I found out that an earthquake hit Salt Lake City and the airport was closed. So then I had a 24-hour delay where I had to sleep on the airport floor during like COVID just taking off when everyone's like super terrified of everything.
I hate it.
And there was this family. Oh my God. It was this
It's
family of
always
like
a
eight
family.
kids, eight kids, all wearing matching red t-shirts and blue jeans, who were also all going to be flying to Salt Lake. And when I tell you they would not stop eating nuts, but like all the nut shells were all over the carpet. Like there was like
Ew.
this family, like it looked like a litter box that they were standing in by the end of it. And I'm just like, why are there nut crumbs everywhere?
I'm scared.
So that was how I went into the pandemic.
I love that. Very eventful. You have a story out of it. I love the idea though of like because over here it was the same of like people being like, "Oh my God, isn't it so scary like in Asian countries or like in the US people like being afraid for you?" And it's like, girly, they've been wearing masks like before the pandemic. Like
Right.
they know how to deal with shit like this. Like meanwhile, Europe and the US were like exploding over like 2020, and they were like, "Oh my God, isn't
Exactly.
it so scary?" And it's like, "No, girl, it's scary to be here."
Right. And it's
Like,
like, at that time I understand that like China was blowing up, but that's not all of Asia.
right.
I was like, you're showing a part of yourself right now.
Not the same country, not the same people, not the same
Right.
precautions. So,
Independence for Taiwan, we support.
yes. And China, right? Independence for them as well. Like they have like the protests or they had for the longest time protests.
Like Hong Kong, yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. Oh my God, we have a very
Uh-oh.
interestingly worded question from Passion, aka Passion's Planet, and she said, and
I'm
I
scared.
quote: "These are not my words; these are Passion's words." She said, "Since your annoying, bald British sig self left Twitch, I am not as frequently informed about your music taste. What have you been enjoying and listening to since July?"
Oh my God. So I have my music taste is different. I'm
Okay.
fully on the like 2005 emo screamo hardcore. That's like where that is like my center point of music.
I love that.
Um, but then I also like a lot of like folk punk and like pop punk. I've been listening to a lot of The Beth, The Regrets, Camp Cope. Today I was listening to Hello Goodbye, their
All
original
right.
album. Um, and then like I love like Alicia Edelweiss. I've been listening to a lot of her, which is a lot of like I don't know. It's like punk, but not like heavy punk. It's a lot of like acoustic or whatever, like the best and the regrets. But that's like a lot of what I've been listening to. I'm not a big pop music person, except Piano by Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande's best song is Piano.
Not
Um,
piano.
But yeah, I don't know what it is about pop. I'm not like that girl who's like, ew, you're playing pop right now. Like that's not me because I can twerk to a chromatica. Um, but it's not generally something that I just like put on.
Right.
Um, and then other genres, I love a classic R&B, like a 90s R&B, like a Monica
Ooh.
or like a Brandy.
Right. Iconic.
And then what else do I listen to? It's like it.
Iconic. We love to see it. I love that. Listen, I know half of most of those names? Absolutely not. Do I support? Absolutely. Sure.
You like listen to it and it's like the most problematic music you've ever heard. And I'm like, gotcha.
Listen, I listen to K-pop. I straddle that line of problematic often. I'm like, what
I
word
like
did you just
baby
say?
metal. For the K-pop band Baby Metal.
It's Japanese.
J-pop? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're Japanese. I don't know anything about baby metal.
Because there's that other J-pop guy who, what is his name? He was a professional wrestler and he sings metal and he started a J-pop band where he wears like a little skirt and a dress like really tight or like a maid's outfit and
Iconic.
has his hair in like pigtails, but he's like screaming and then I'll have two other girls doing like pop vocals. But I
Love
cannot
that.
remember what his name is. But that's
I
J-pop also.
I love that. I love all that, honestly. I'm like, if it's random, if it's colorful, I'm into it. Sure. Give it to me. Like I don't it's not I don't think it's not as much like this anymore over here with like Western pop music. But for a while it was so boring and so like everyone was crying and everyone was like, on the
Just people in the
piano
streets crying.
singing, singing in cursive, and I'm like, I'm over it. I need some joy in my life, and that's when I turned to K-pop to get a little bit of joy. But nowadays, it's if passion is interested in my music taste, or what I'm listening
Ashton's
to,
just like, no.
right? She's just like, absolutely not. I hate you. So you better stop. I actually haven't finished Lil Nas X's new album, but I heard some of it and I really liked it so far. Um, Definitely a lot of K-pop for sure. AT's had a new album recently. Um,
The 18s?
or like my captions, like the 80s.
I thought you meant like the teen version of ABBA. The
I
18s? I was like obsessed with them when I was a kid. I was like upside down.
Not that. Um, what else am I listening to? Damn, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. So that's it. That's all I do. That's all I listen
K-pop.
to. Yeah, just K-pop generally. Um, but yeah, listen. This has been such a lovely conversation. It's almost been an hour since we started recording. Can you believe? Um,
No.
right? I honestly, I kind of miss your show, The Pyramid of What. I'm like, oh, that was so iconic. If you couldn't tell from me being on there like twice, I was like, yeah, I'm into it.
If anyone's interested in Pyramid of What, I do have all 5 seasons saved on my Twitch channel. So if you go to twitch.tv/RyanWhatt, you can scroll down and watch all the seasons in their entirety. They're about like 3.5 hours, and it's basically a recreation of the classic TV game show Pyramid, where contestants are in teams of two, and one contestant is given a list of words, and they have to, without saying that word, get their teammate to guess that word. And Ruby appeared twice.
Sure did.
It's seasons 4 and then season 5, known as Unfinished Business. So if you're looking for a Ruby specific season, You can go check them out there. But
It's not a
all the
lot of
seasons
hours
are
of content. We'll say that without any spoilers
up.
for my appearances on there. It's not hours of content. I can say that much. Um, but it's so funny. I remember my first season. I was so nervous, and it was so funny because like every once in a while there would be like one or two people that were like extremely like passionate like in chat, and they thought that we were like really gunning for like money, and we were like, you know what I mean? Like, so they would like after a round, they would be like, "Oh my god, flop! Oh my god, that
I
person."
hated that.
I noticed like you and your mods try to like keep it together, but there was always like the one person that would be like, "Oh my god, that what about this word? What about that word? Oh my god, they flopped," or like whatever. And I just remember being like, "Do they know that like we're just having a good time?"
Right, like my whole thing with Pyramid, and for those who like don't know the format, because it's like one person has the word and they're trying to get the other. It's so funny the things that people come up with to try to make someone say the word. Like one time the word was remote, and someone is
Mm-hmm.
like, "What you use to control a vibrator?" I'm
I'm
like,
someone.
like. That's like the fun part of it is, but yeah, some people in chat would get a little too intense. I was like, okay, we're not like out to like burn anyone at the stake here. Like we're just having a laugh.
I thought
But
it was so
a
funny.
few people did get banned because they'd be like, that person's so dumb. It's like, damn, you sit up here on camera with someone that you've like never met before with a
Right?
30-second timer on the clock and see how you do.
Right. Me and Passion for our first go around, we didn't think about practicing or anything of the sort. So we just like showed up and we're like, let's just have a good time. Which,
And y'all were great.
it showed in
You
our
were a lot of
results.
fun.
We'll say that. Yeah. Absolutely. We had fun. Oh my god. If you could do okay, if you could do a return of Pyramid of What, and you could get literally anyone you wanted, like it doesn't matter their schedule. Like if let's say like magically if you DM them, they would magically drop everything to go to attend. What would be like the cast like?
I would bring back season one contestants Blizzbear and Bandana Hawk. And I feel so bad because we were in talks for getting them on Unfinished Business, but none of the schedules could line up. So I would love to have them back. And then for like new people, if I could reach outside of Twitch, I would have Bob the Drag Queen and Monet Exchange.
Yes.
I had considered reaching out to them and being like, look, I don't have a lot of money. Your booking fees are expensive. Like, can I just pay y'all like $200 each to like do this? Like, don't worry about doing it in drag or anything. I thought about it, but I never like got the courage up to do it because casting it is like I would start casting 3 weeks prior. And so I didn't want to message them with a date or something and then they don't get back to me for 2 weeks, so I filled someone else in, something like that.
Right.
Um, who else would I love to see on it? Um, Passion and Ruby. Uh,
I was just gonna say you don't have to pick us. I had
um,
my shot twice.
I don't know. It's hard to think of like new people because there's a lot of streamers that I really like. I would love to see Evolicious and Miss Cookie Dough. Because I love both of them so much,
They would be an
and I think they're
interesting
both
pairing.
yeah, I think they're both like super funny and super quick. Um, and they might kill each other.
Yeah. The
And
screaming, I can already hear it.
and if I would have to pick one more team. Me.
Yeah.
I would love to compete because I love game shows and I love competing on game shows. Um, and I would love to do it. I don't know who my
Yes.
partner would be, and I don't know who would host it, but
You know what? We have time to think about that.
but there's so many people on Twitch who I think are so funny that I would love to have do it. Like I
Yeah.
like the one of my mods, Cody, who was actually the one behind the scenes making all the polls for the questions every time. Um,
MVP.
she was like, "Oh my God, how are you going to do this every month? Like, you're going to run out of contestants." I was like, "You don't know how many people I know." Um, yeah, so
I
an
would run
endless
out of
amount.
people. I'm not that social. I'm not that social. I'll be very honest. Like that's one of the
You've hosted
reasons.
so many panels though.
Well, that's why I took a break after the panels because I was like, I think I ran out of people that are like, in this exact second that like I want to reach out to. I kind of like expended all my energy for Pride and I literally reached out to so many people. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm not into it. I'm not into it anymore. Suddenly, I don't like podcasting. Um, it's such a thing. It's such a thing. Um,
After Pyramid ended, I was always like super hyper because I like by the second and third season of Pyramid, it was all like um it was just like muscle memory of me like clicking things, organizing everything, trying to
right.
stay on top of it. And then I would have this like adrenaline rush at the end, and then the next day I'd just be like,
Oh my god. Except for me, it hits me the day of. Like if I have sometimes I have a podcast and it's fine. Sometimes I have a podcast episode and like for the rest of the day it's over. And then for maybe the beginning of the next day and I'm like, I hate it here. I don't know why that happens and I don't know why it happens to some people, it doesn't happen with others, but there's that. Oh my god. So no, not the
sorry, it was getting a little chilly with the breeze coming in. So
yeah,
I figured since we
yeah.
might be wrapping up, I let me just get a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I'm less comfortable now, but that's okay. It's fine. As we wrap up, I know you don't, do content anymore, but if people want to keep up with what you're up to and all the fun shenanigans that you're posting, where can people find you and follow you?
They can't, and please don't.
End of the
Um,
stream. Goodbye. You're
no, you can find me. You can find me on Instagram at RyanWhatt. My Instagram is private right now because I had a stalker, but feel free to request me.
not that.
And yeah, come through. And then check out twitch.tv/RyanWhatt if you want to see clips or old seasons of Pyramid of Wet. And my TikTok is RyanWhatt, and I post on there like once a month. But that's Instagram's the best place to find me.
Yes, absolutely. Please do follow him and thank you so much for joining me. It's been so much
Thank you
fun
for having me.
to chat with you. Yes, of course. Honestly, these episodes, people don't know. I think some people don't know this. Like, they're not planned at all. Like, we just show up to the video call and we just talk. So it's like, if you were expecting anything, I wasn't expecting anything in particular. I'm just turning on the Discord and hope it works. Sometimes it doesn't, and then it does. And then we just hope for the best here.
Truly.
So yeah, but if you made it this far, either on YouTube or Twitch or anything of the sort, feel free to click on the follow buttons, on the subscribe buttons, all that fun stuff. You get to support me as well if you want to on Ko-fi. That's like the only place I'm monetized because I don't want to support Twitch and the way that they go about their things. And one of the perks of supporting me on Ko-fi, besides like early videos and exclusive content, is that you do get a shout out at the end of a stream and or a video. And so here we go. Let me quickly do a little shout out for
Hell
my
yeah, shout out.
monthly supporters. Yeah. So we have Spin Blend, Kaiju Juby, Mostly Batfly, Salika, and Smallzy. Y'all are iconic in every way. Thank you so much for supporting. Um, I will be back soon, TM. I think I'll take like a week or two off from the podcast. I'm just saying, just so that y'all know as a little warning, because I'm changing up the time and the day and all that stuff. So, but stay tuned. If you're watching this on Twitch, we have like a little question that we saved for that because we kind of moved away from content talk. So we're gonna get into that after we are done recording. But if you're watching this on YouTube or any other platform, excuse me. Bye. See you next time.